Welcome to my fish room.
That was not mine. So, you want to breed live bears? Fill your tank with lots and lots of Java moss and Java fern and all sorts of plants, and then the babies, they got a place to hide and they feel secure. If you want to cheat, you don't want to have any plants, you put in a bunch of plastic baskets that got holes that are too small for the parents to swim through. Your babies will stay out because they know they got a place to go to get away. You just raise however many you want all at the same time. In freshwater, it's mostly fish. We got some freshwater shrimp like cherry shrimp, and there's all the bee shrimp. They've started breeding them for color. They got bright blue ones, bright green ones, black ones, red ones, white ones, everything. But they're small. There's some bigger shrimp, but they're a little more specialized. They're filter feeders. They've got these fans and they wade them through the water. Okay. In saltwater though, you can have a myriad of different creatures, like anything from little wee tiny microscopic organisms all the way up to your big fish. You got your shrimp, your crabs, your prawns, your scallops. You guys ever seen a scallop swim? It's a clam that flaps really fast when it can swim. And you'll come in and it'll be attached onto there because they have these bissel threads that they glue on underwater. We're trying to figure out how they do it because underwater glue would be really handy. Atmosphere, okay. In a freshwater tank, you fill the tank up, you put your first fish in, you wait a couple weeks, you put your next batch of fish in, you wait a few weeks until you got your fish tank filled. After about 3 weeks, you start changing water, okay? Always change a small portion of it. It's better to do a lot more small changes than one big change. Fish do not like change, okay? So if you go from an absolutely filthy tank to a clean tank, you might kill them. Because they weren't balanced with their water and they got that way slowly. So if I go to a customer, brand new customer, because I clean fish tanks, I see everything. Sometimes you get there and the gravel, you can roll it out. It's got so much bacteria, gelled everything together. You kind of, okay. Drain all the water out of the tank into a bucket. Put the fish in the bucket, put an air stone in there. Take the gravel out, wash it, put it back in. The next day, change that much water. Next day, change that much. And you keep doing that until the water's clean again, because if you changed it all to make it clean at once, you're going to kill it. Medications, basically you just look at your fish and you can usually see something about them. They're acting lethargic, they're not eating. When you feed them, you watch them and see if they're active, and then you start researching why it's happening. If the fish are up at the surface gasping, it's usually because there's too much ammonia or not enough oxygen. Water change. Bacterial infections, we have all sorts. Yes? Yeah, they can see me, they know me, and if you have a fish tank for a couple of weeks, the person that feeds them will become their best friend. Oh yeah, they'll swap back and forth. Sometimes we just draw our figure back and forth. I used to work at a pet store and we were occasionally really bored, so we had these 2 fish tanks, 4 foot long, 4 foot long, a foot between them. We'd take a goldfish and we'd go and pull him up. And the Oscar would come flying out and land in the other tank. Yeah, it's childish and stupid, but you know, we were having fun. After you finish medicating, always take the medication out because you don't want the fish to get used to it so that it won't work as well the next time. Activated carbon takes out most everything. Okay, before you medicate, always take the carbon out. What? How do you separate them? You have another tank. Yeah, that's the best way. But say you came home one day and you saw that 10 fish in that tank had fungus, you might as well treat the whole tank for fungus. okay, or parasites. But if you have a bacterial infection, that's kind of like us. If I have a bacterial infection, it's not going to really spread. If they're copper-based, they're not good for scaleless fish, okay? Some fish have scales, some don't. Like your algae eaters, your clown loaches, all your loaches. Never use any medication that's got formaldehyde in it with the dolphins, elephant nose, or the baby whales. Formaldehyde kills any of the moramid fish family, okay? But formaldehyde is the best medication for neon tetras. So you can't medicate those two together, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Yes. 95% of people overfeed their fish. That is just a made-up statistic, but it's probably accurate. You want to feed them what they eat eagerly in less than 5 minutes. So these fish especially, they're easy not to overfeed, but they're also easy to overfeed. They want their food right there. But they'll do it again in 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes, and if I keep throwing food in there, it's going to rot on the bottom, okay? You want all food cleaned up right away. So if you put the fish food in there, and you see it on the bottom 5 minutes later, they're not going to eat it. It doesn't smell strongly anymore, and it's not moving. So if it ain't moving, it ain't smelling, they can't fight it. Some people, they use a lot of the catfish and stuff for that, because the catfish will just keep going and going and going. That's another thing about a balanced tank. You don't want to put all the same kind of fish in without putting a cleanup grid. In saltwater, that can be snails, crabs, the starfish, the sea cucumbers, the rotifers, the copepods, everything. It all achieves balance. Freshwater, you know, you got your fish, you got your cleanup crew, you may have a shrimp, you may have some crayfish, stuff like that. Don't put crayfish in with little fish though, because they'll eat them. Always put a lid on top of crayfish. They swim backwards really fast and they leap over the top. And then when you're sitting on the couch watching TV and they walk out and hit the back of the ankle, then you have a heart attack. Yeah. Yeah, well, I kind of went down the river once, got about 35 crayfish, and half of them got out.
What's your favorite fish?
My favorite fish is an orbiculate batfish.
I was going to bring one, too.
You did it? An orbiculate batfish is brown. That's his only claim to fame. He's that tall, that long. 6 months later, he's that tall. And he follows you around like a puppy. I have customers that have them, and when I'm cleaning, he comes up and bites my hand. He wants food. But yeah, it's just my favorite fish, their personality. As you walk across the room, now of course they want food, but you know, I interpret it as love. Next to that, it's the weirdos, the oddballs, the pipefish. You ever see a pipefish? Ever see a seahorse? Take a seahorse and go, psst. That's a pipefish. Same family, Signathans. They don't have any fat. They got an armored surface, but they go psst, really fast, and that's how they catch their food. Swimming along, they go. Okay. Yes. Any fish that have been... Oh, no. Basically, with fish, they have such an amount of genetics in them that you don't run into the hip dysplasia and stuff like that. The only thing we do run into is if you got your fancy goldfish, you know, your fantails, when they get really big, they swim really weird. And then we got some fish that, like the red parrot cichlids, that is a hybrid between several different fish that we're still not 100% sure what they are, because they keep it secret. What? No. No, basically you just keep trying to bring in a different cross. See, with the red parrots, they got a fish that is a big South American type cichlid with a small mouth. That way you can keep it with others.